Hey, Tammy, blah, 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 I can't even talk. This is a great way to start our morning. Christian Network Marketers Community, hello, Tasha here, and I have one of our community members, Tammy, Braye here, and we are going to talk about how God is working in her network marketing business. So, Tammy, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I am just so honored that Tasha invited me to be here to talk to you about this because it is a huge, near and dear thing, how the Lord is working in me and in this business. I was just thinking about it, going over in my brain this morning a little bit about the number one thing that he's doing, working in my business is working in me. The person he is helping me to become is totally different than the person I started out being. And on my heart to help people, he's showing me a way that I would have never expected to be able to reach people and help them on so many different levels, and at the same time be a witness for him, to try to do things with integrity and authenticity, which is a huge, huge goal for me. So, I don't know what else.
Yeah, can you give us a specific, well, you said you had kind of had this idea of what it meant to help people.
Sure.
And God has led you on a path of the unexpected. So what was your initial idea about what it meant to help people, and how has that changed? Or has God changed that in you?
Well, help people like by, go on mission trips and give money at church, and just try to lead people to Christ that you meet, that you come across. And obviously those are all actual things to do, but I never felt called to go on a mission trip. I felt called to support missionaries, still do, but there's more. There has to be more. And that's kind of been the cry of my life since I got saved. It's like, what more? There's got to be more. And when he led me to this business, I mean, there was just this clear call that this was the avenue. So it was like, oh, okay, God's full of surprises. So it was clear and direct, and he's, it's what keeps me going whenever things don't look like that is ever going to come to fruition, so.
Sure. So how have you, well, first of all, you probably saw me smirk a little bit when you talked about the mission trip. So was it just last week I went to the World Vision Conference, and every single person was like, are you going on a vision trip? And I said to them, well, would you like me to go to Africa, or would you like me to sell?
Right.
Which would you prefer? And I don't meet very many people that are wired like that. And so that's kind of why I smirked a little bit. I don't want you to think it meant anything other than I get that. To know that God has called each of us to a different way to fulfill his, it's not one size fit all. It's not all of the people need to be on missions trips and all of the people need to be in network marketing to fulfill God's kingdom. He has made us for this role and we need a bunch of different types of roles to make the whole thing fit together. What's one specific way, or maybe a story where you see yourself helping someone in a way that was certainly God appointed?
Oh,
I know, a million, right? Just give one example, and I'm sure God will pull the one that'll encourage someone listening or watching this.
The one example, I mean, it's helping people to overcome the things that are stopping them, like the mindset, the heartstrings that are still attached from things that happened in childhood or not being able to let go, and it's amazing what Emerge has done for me to help me be able to talk to people in a way that's not confrontational, that's not judgmental, because that's not what's in my heart, but being able to communicate is what it's all about. And so just learning a few, and I can't even probably give you an example. Well, how's that working for you? And just helping them to see that where they're at isn't where they have to stay.
Sure.
And obviously that, God's grace, number one, is what brings us out of these terrible places that we've all been. I mean, it's part of being human. So that wasn't probably exactly an example, but I have people that they have a really hard time attracting people, and they tend to attract people like themselves, and then they're frustrated.
Yeah.
Kind of, but
Yeah, I get that. So I have a question for you, because what I wrote down is what God has been working in you is to help you to communicate in a way that is loving.
Yes.
And helpful. So, one of the things that's really so profound about what you're saying is how one of my friends says, God's a little rascal. We think one thing, we think another. And I'm sure that there's so many people, Tammy, that are in the Christian Network Marketers community that are like, seriously, this is where you stuck me? And they feel so strong that God is calling them, but it seems so strange. And I love that you just normalized that. And I love that you drew a distinction between communicating in a way that's judgmental versus loving. And I think there's a lot of training out there that in order to be for self-preservation, right, internally within various companies, regardless of how honorable the company culture is, right, it's made up of humans. And so when people reject us, right, our natural, what we feel reject us, right, I mean, it's not really us. Right. Our natural human intuition is say, well, they're just stupid and they just don't get it and blah, blah, blah. And you drew a distinction between communicating in that way, judgmental, like what's wrong with you? I can't believe you hate your body and you're putting toxins in there, which, that's not helpful. I think you know that. So what are some phrases that you use or questions that you ask now that help you to communicate in a way that's more loving? I'm sure that would be helpful for people in their business. Maybe let's start with, let's say I'm one of your friends and my kids are super, super sick. What's a way you would communicate with me in a way that's loving as opposed to judgmental?
Well, if your kids are super sick and obviously I'm going to talk to you about oils, and I'm going to start out with talking about when my kids were little and how awful it was when they were sick. And been there, done that. And it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you're loading them down with toxic chemicals. I mean, we're all doing the best we can. So what I say to people is basically, I talk about the oils and I wish I would have known about them then. So I feel, like if you're interested, I would really like to talk to you about them. And if they're not interested, it's okay. And they go away knowing that, because then later on they'll be thinking about it and come back. So it's just, I just keep things very, I don't know, I just keep feeling like Switzerland. It's like, this is a choice you get to make. And that's just how I always present it. It's just a choice. And I'm not trying to, I sell essential oils, but whether you buy them or not is totally up to you. And I just guess that's how I communicate, but I don't know if, other than saying, would you like to try them?
Yeah.
Just simple. That's something, that really has stuck with me, is keep it 4th grade and simple.
So what I wrote down as really the key phrase there, and I don't even know you picked up on the fact that this was the key phrase and this was the loving phrase. I wrote down, I wish I knew about these earlier. And I believe sales is the most honorable profession out of all of the professions. My dad, the doctor, might argue with me, I suppose.
He might.
Because when we are in sales, there's a difference between proactive sales and reactive sales. Reactive sales is when a customer is so fed up, they've been searching and searching and searching, and they go and buy something that they think might work. Proactive sales is going to people. and identifying a need and understanding this core vision or mission of, if I were to know about this earlier, then that would be positive, right? Like, that's better. I wish I knew about these earlier. And when we go with that posture of that, I want to make sure that you know about this, because you could suffer for 3 years, or you could stop suffering now. And we look at sales as an opportunity to equip people from removing that suffering, in a material way. And I think about the example of Jesus. Jesus certainly, right, saves our soul, but he also gave people fish and bread and wine, which are the 3 things you need to be happy in life, I think.
Right.
in addition to Jesus, of course. So I really, I love that. You also mentioned a team member who might be attracting people like them. And they're struggling, and then so they attract people that are struggling as well. As a leader, this is kind of one of those places where you just want to shake them and be like, get your crap together. And certainly, right, it's easy, very easy to not be loving in that scenario. So how would you approach me if I was not following through on my commitments, not working hard, some of those things, and then complaining on top of it about my people?
Any of those. I look at it and I talk to you like, why do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Yes, I want to do this. Okay, what would help you do? What's one thing that you could do today? Like, try to break things down smaller, because uncover the reason why they're not following through. Why? And I face the same thing. I mean, I lots of times spin in circles, and believe me, that's something that I'm on a major quest to break through, because it's a long time thing. But the people, I mean, most of the people that I'm talking to are pretty much working, but they're just, it's learning how to get past whatever it is that's holding you back or making you stop. And just asking the questions, like, first of all, don't focus on like, oh, my team is whatever, fill in the blank, whatever the complaint is, well, what about, they've also at some time or another, they've said something good about that person, or they really like that person. So you have to go back and focus on the good things that they're saying and remind them of the good things about their business, about the people around them, about themselves. And, it's back to gratitude again. So, and also, things might be really, really bad today or this hour, but if you just keep going forward with an attitude, a good attitude, things are going to change. And they're, if you're ready to receive a blessing, you're going to be blessed. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
I love that. So I wrote down, learn about what's holding them back versus, I mean, these are my words, versus judging them.
Right.
Number 2, encourage them, remind them why they're good. Yeah. And go in with the mindset of nothing is permanent.
Absolutely.
Things are likely to get better, as opposed to the mindset of things are likely to get worse. And what happens is, when we behave in a way that supports that belief of things are going to get better, things typically get better. If we act in a way that things are going to get worse, then things typically get worse. So yes, that is gold. That is money. Okay, Tammy. So last thing, what is just one last thing that you want to share with our community?
Never, ever give up. I mean, just don't give up. And if you have to change vehicles, if the vehicle that you're in isn't the right one, that's okay to change vehicles, but don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on God's call on your life. And just keep digging for, and let him work in you to just be the best you can be. Don't hang on to past things, walk in forgiveness and gratitude, and just don't give up. Just don't quit. I can't, oh my goodness. There's a really great graphic out there about the guy, he's really close to the diamond mine and he just stops because the rocks are so hard and he walks away. And then the next guy is, he just doesn't quit.
Sure. That's awesome. I wrote down, if you need to change vehicles, that struck me right now. Even like I'm in the middle. I just want to let you know that encourages me of like which coaching products to focus on. And I've been leaning towards a certain set. And I think that might have been a little bit of encouragement for me.
Aww.
So thank you. Thank you, Tammy. All right. Thank you so much, Tammy, for taking time here today to share with our community, share your testimony, share your tips. We're super grateful for you. And again, thank you.
Thank you for having me, Tasha. Thank you for everything you do. And
you're welcome.
Changing. Bye-bye.